Those with no skills and low education can walk here. The $70 million contract will be terminated. The moment I said those words, I felt a surge of power coursing through me. This was the major deal with Mr. Smith's company. Canceling it could be a significant blow to my company. But there are things far more important than money. They are my pride as a person, the bond with my employees, and the smile of my granddaughter, Emily. I recalled what I learned from playing high school baseball. Victory doesn't come from individual talent alone. It's about teamwork and the determination to never give up. Now is the time to put that spirit into action. Mr. Smith seeks to control people through money. But we have something far stronger. A heart that values mutual support and compassion. With this one statement, our counterattack begins. We will win. I vowed this to myself. My name is Benjamin Johnson. I'm 62 years old this year. As the president of a small and mid-sized business, I dedicate myself to the daily grind. In my youth, I poured my heart into high school baseball, and the values I gained back then still guide me. At my company, I work alongside my employees, facing challenges together as one team. The importance of teamwork I learned in baseball is something I practice in the business world too. My employees are not just colleagues, they are precious companions to me. I also have a beloved granddaughter. Her name is Emily. She just turned 22 and started her career this year. She's diligent and hardworking, though her lack of confidence concerns me. Emily joined a major corporation that has business ties with my company. The company's president, Mr. Smith, is someone I've met a few times. He appears to be a respectable businessperson on the surface, but there's something peculiar about him. My company may not be large, but the unity among our employees is something I take pride in. It's like a high school baseball team, where each member fulfills their role and supports one another. This bond is our greatest strength. Even amidst the busy workdays, I often find myself reminiscing about my high school baseball days. Standing on the field and chasing the white ball with my teammates to find my youth. The fiery passion I felt back then still burns brightly in my heart today. As I watch Emily grow, I dream of leading my company to greater heights. With the never-give-up spirit I cultivated in baseball, I will continue to forge ahead. One day, I received a call from Emily. Her voice was brimming with excitement. "Grandpa, guess what? I've been selected for an overseas training program at work." "Wow, that's fantastic. Where are you going?" "To New York in the US. It's a one-week program." Hearing her joyous voice brought a smile to my face. It had been 6 months since Emily started her job. She was finally getting accustomed to her work. The overseas training would surely be an excellent opportunity for her. "That's great to hear. Learn as much as you can and enjoy yourself." "Thanks, Grandpa. I'll do my best." After hanging up the phone, I felt a twinge of worry. It was Emily's first time traveling abroad. Would she be all right? But I quickly pushed that thought aside. If it's Emily, she'll be just fine. As I learned in high school baseball, opportunities are meant to be seized. A few days later, I got another call from Emily. This time, she was at the airport. "Grandpa, something's wrong." "What happened? Are you okay?" "Everyone else got money for a taxi, but I didn't." I furrowed my brow. Something didn't add up. "What do you mean? Tell me everything." "Mr. Smith didn't give me any money for the taxi. He said, those with no skills and low education can walk." For a moment, I was at a loss for words. Anger surged through me. "What did you just say? That's unbelievable." "Wait there. I'm coming to get you." "No, Grandpa. I'll handle this. You always told me that no matter how tough things got, you never gave up during your high school baseball days. I'll do the same. I'll try my best." Her words struck me deeply. I was surprised by her strength, but also immensely proud. I see. Alright, but if anything happens, call me right away. Okay. Thank you. After the call, I let out a deep sigh. Mr. Smith. What on earth is that man thinking? But for now, all I can do is trust Emily and watch over her. That night, I couldn't sleep. I was consumed with worry for Emily. Looking out the window, I noticed the full moon shining brightly. It reminded me of the night before a big game during my high school days, staring at the moon from the field. That same sense of tension returned to me. The next day, I arrived at the office earlier than usual. I made it a point to check in with my employees more than ever. How's everything going? Is there anything you're struggling with? This was different from how Mr. Smith ran things. For us, fostering a sense of mutual care and support is paramount. During lunch, I ate my packed lunch alone in the office. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. It was Emily. Emily? Did you make it there safely? Yes, somehow. But Grandpa. Her voice sounded weary. What happened? Did something go wrong? The training has started, but Mr. Smith yelled at me in front of everyone. I set my chopsticks down. Mr. Smith again. He said, someone like you, with such low education, couldn't possibly understand something this advanced right in front of everyone. What? I'm trying so hard. Why is this happening? Emily's voice trembled with emotion. Suppressing my anger, I spoke to her gently. Emily, listen to me. You are doing great. Don't let anything Mr. Smith says get to you. Your worth isn't determined by your academic background. But, just hear me out. Back in my high school baseball days, it didn't matter what grades we had. Everyone came together and worked toward a shared goal. That experience shaped who I am today. You might be going through a tough time right now, but I want you to trust my words and keep moving forward toward your own goals. Okay, I understand. Thank you, Grandpa. After hanging up, I clenched my fists tightly. Mr. Smith. You are. But now is not the time to act. I have no choice but to trust Emily and watch over her, as frustrating as it is. That evening, I gathered the younger employees at my company. Listen, everyone, I have something important to share. A person's value isn't in their academic background or title. What matters is their heart, their compassion for others, and their determination to never give up. The employees listened intently, their expressions serious. We are a team. If we support and uplift each other, we can overcome any challenge. A quiet but powerful energy filled the meeting room. It seemed my words resonated with them. That night, I called Emily again. Emily, how are you holding up? I'm okay, somehow. There will be tough times, but you're strong. Face it with the same spirit as one team, one dream. You've got this. Okay. I'll try my best. The next morning, I arrived at the office early. As I worked at my desk, my phone suddenly rang. The number was unfamiliar. This is Benjamin speaking. The caller was Tyler, an old high school baseball teammate of mine. Hey, Benjamin. It's been a while. Tyler. What's up? It's rare to hear from you. Well, there's something that's been bothering me. It's about the company where your granddaughter works. I leaned forward in my chair. Ah, Mr. Smith's company. What about it? I've heard some bad rumors like stuff about mistreating employees, putting pressure on subordinates, and outright harassment. I frowned. As I suspected, there's something off about Mr. Smith. Thanks for the information. I'll keep an eye on things. After hanging up, I sat deep in thought. We were about to finalize a $70 million contract with Mr. Smith's company. But at this rate. That afternoon, Emily called again. Grandpa, I think I've reached my limit. What's wrong? Everyone is avoiding me. It's because Mr. Smith keeps saying bad things about me. I couldn't contain my anger anymore. I understand. That's enough. Come home immediately. But the training. It doesn't matter. Your well-being is more important. Come back right now. Okay. After hanging up, I stood up abruptly. I'd had enough. Mr. Smith, prepare yourself. I gathered my employees. Listen, everyone. I'm about to make an important decision. We're canceling the contract with Mr. Smith's company. The room erupted in murmurs. I understand. This could lead to a significant loss. But there are things we cannot compromise when it comes to our pride as human beings. The employees nodded silently. Their eyes were filled with unwavering trust in me. Now, this is our moment. Let's show them what we're capable of. The next day, Emily returned from her trip and stopped by my company. She looked utterly exhausted, but when she saw me, a trace of relief crossed her face. Welcome back. It's all right now. I'm sorry, Grandpa. I've caused you so much trouble. What are you talking about? You've done nothing wrong. In fact, you've done well. I hugged Emily tightly. Her shoulders trembled. Now, it's time to move forward. Together, we'll carve out a new path. Emily looked up and gave me a faint smile. Back in my high school baseball days, no matter how tough the odds, I never gave up. Yeah. It's the same this time. We'll win. We won't let someone like Mr. Smith defeat us. Little by little, a spark returned to Emily's eyes. I turned to look out the window. The sunset painted the sky a deep red, as if heralding the battle that was about to begin. All right, let's go. Our counterattack begins now. The next morning, I headed to the office early. The events of the previous day weighed heavily on my mind. Emily's worn-out expression was etched into my memory. As I entered the president's office, my eyes fell on the pile of documents on my desk. Among them was the contract with Mr. Smith's company. $70 million. A massive figure. But there are things more important than money. James, come here for a moment. My secretary, James, stepped into the office. Prepare to terminate the contract with Mr. Smith's company. Certainly. James looked momentarily surprised but quickly composed himself. He seemed to understand my resolve. Just then, my phone rang. It was Emily. Emily? What's wrong? Grandpa, I don't want to go to work. Her voice trembled. The previous day's events were clearly still tormenting her. There's no need to force yourself. Take some time to rest. But if I do that, Mr. Smith will. Emily, listen to me. You've done nothing wrong. Take a break and let yourself recover. Okay. Thank you, Grandpa. After the call ended, I let out a deep sigh. Hearing about Emily's suffering felt like a dagger to my heart. That afternoon, I gathered my employees. Listen, everyone. I've decided to cancel the contract with Mr. Smith's company. Gasps of surprise spread through the room. I know this could lead to a major financial loss. But there are things we must protect. Signing a deal with a company surrounded by bad rumors could tarnish our own reputation. In the long run, that would bring even greater losses. The employees nodded silently. Their eyes filled with unwavering trust in me. This is where the real test begins. Let's combine our strengths and overcome this crisis together. A quiet resolve filled the meeting room. All right, let's go. Our counterattack starts now. That night, I called Emily again. Emily, how are you holding up? Yeah, I'm feeling a bit calmer now. Good. Don't push yourself. Take it slow and rest. But I have to go back to work tomorrow. Emily, listen to me. No matter how hard things get, your team is there to support you. For me, my team was my high school baseball teammates. For you, your team includes me, your colleagues, and others who understand your struggles. Lean on them when you need to. Okay? You don't have to carry everything alone. Trust your teammates and don't hesitate to ask for help. I understand. Thank you, Grandpa. After hanging up, I gazed out the window. The night sky was filled with stars. I was reminded of the nights before big games in high school, looking up at the stars from the field. I need to reclaim that same pure determination I had back then. The next morning, I arrived at the office early. Looking at the faces of my employees, I could sense their unease about yesterday's decision. Everyone, listen. The decision we made yesterday was the right one. We will not sell our souls for money. Their expressions softened slightly. Now, let's give it our best today. Together, we can overcome any obstacle. That afternoon, Emily called again. Grandpa. Mr. Smith humiliated me again. What happened? Did you go to work? Emily, being the diligent person she is, must have decided to give it another shot. I had told her it was okay to rest, but she had gone anyway. In today's meeting, he completely ignored my proposal. Worse, he said, there's no point in listening to the opinions of someone so incompetent. I shook with anger. Emily, you've done well. You've done absolutely nothing wrong. But he embarrassed me in front of everyone. I really don't think I can go back to work anymore. Emily, listen to me. Back in my high school baseball days, even when we lost, we never gave up. We practiced harder and went into the next game. But there was always a chance of winning in those situations. But this is different. Watching you wear yourself down like this, I can't just stand by. I know. I've even started considering taking a leave of absence. But part of me doesn't want to give up. I want to try a little longer. After the call, I clenched my fists. If I don't act soon, Emily's spirit might break. I began devising a plan. A few days later, my phone rang again. Emily? What's wrong? Grandpa. I think I've reached my limit. What happened? Today, Mr. Smith piled a mountain of paperwork on my desk and said, "Have it all done by tomorrow morning." I trembled with rage. What? That's outrageous. And when I tried to protest, he said, "If you're useless, you can leave." Emily, that's enough. Quit that company. But, Grandpa, don't worry. I'll take care of everything. Come home immediately. Okay. After ending the call, I stood up. I had reached my limit. That night, I contacted my old high school baseball teammates. Though each of us had taken different paths in life, our bond remained strong. Listen, everyone. Right now, I'm facing a huge obstacle. But I have no intention of giving up. Can I count on your support? Without hesitation, my friends offered their help. Thank you. With all of you, I know I can overcome this. After hanging up, I took a deep breath. The real battle begins tomorrow. The next morning, I arrived at the office early. The employees' faces reflected a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Everyone, listen up. Starting today, we embark on a new challenge. We will forge our path without relying on Mr. Smith's company. Light began to return to their eyes, and a small round of applause followed. That day, we worked tirelessly to find new business partners. We made phone calls, held meetings, and prepared proposals. Even Emily seemed to regain her energy. In the evening, I called Emily into my office. Emily, listen to me. You are incredible. Don't let anything Mr. Smith says affect you. Your worth isn't determined by someone like him. Grandpa. We're just getting started. If you'd like, you're welcome to work here at our company. Or, if you want to find another job, that's your choice. I want you to decide what's best for you. Emily nodded, her expression reflecting a sense of resolve. The next day, I headed to the office at dawn. Today was the day to fire the first shot against Mr. Smith. James, are the documents to terminate the contract with Mr. Smith's company ready? Yes, here they are. Good. Prepare them for delivery. A few days later, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. This is Benjamin speaking. The voice on the other end belonged to Mr. Smith. It seemed the documents had reached him. Mr. Johnson, what is the meaning of this? Canceling the contract? Mr. Smith, I have a question for you. Why did you mistreat Emily so cruelly? What are you talking about? That incompetent. I hung up the phone. There was no point in continuing the conversation. I gazed out the window. The sun was beginning to rise. A new day was dawning. The persistent Mr. Smith wasted no time and called again. Mr. Johnson, please, let's not joke around. Canceling this contract would be disastrous for us. This is no joke. My decision is final. But it's a $70 million deal. Surely your company will suffer significant losses as well. There are things more important than money, like our pride as human beings. I see. However, simply sending documents to cancel the contract isn't acceptable. We need to meet in person to discuss this. I hesitated for a moment, but I agreed, intending this to be our final discussion. That afternoon, Mr. Smith visited my company. We sat across from each other in the conference room. Mr. Johnson, please reconsider. This contract is mutually beneficial. Mr. Smith, you treat people as if they were objects. I cannot do business with a company like yours. What are you talking about? Business is all about results. Sacrifices are sometimes necessary. Sacrifices? Are you calling trampling on people's dignity a necessary sacrifice? Mr. Johnson, you're talking about your granddaughter, aren't you? She lacks the necessary skills. I'm simply being strict in my guidance. My body trembled with anger. Guidance? You call undermining someone's self-worth and stripping away their dignity guidance? Mr. Johnson, calm down. Emotions have no place in business. No, you're wrong. It's in business that people's hearts matter most. Supporting and caring for one another is the foundation of real success. You're being naive, Mr. Johnson. That mindset won't survive in this harsh world. No, the one who won't survive is you. A company that has lost its humanity has no future. Mr. Smith gave a cold smirk. I see. It seems there's no point in continuing this discussion. I'll take my leave now. After Mr. Smith left, I let out a deep sigh. This is not the end. In fact, the real battle is just beginning. That evening, I called Emily. Emily, listen to me. I've completely terminated the contract with Mr. Smith's company. Grandpa. Is it because of me? No, it's not because of you. This was a decision to protect our pride. But, will the company be okay? Don't worry. We have the strength to overcome this. We'll get through it. The sparkle in Emily's eyes gradually returned. The next morning, I arrived at the office early. I gathered my employees and explained the situation. Everyone, listen. The contract with Mr. Smith's company has been fully terminated. The road ahead will be tough. But we have something far more valuable, our pride and our compassion for one another. As long as we have that, we can overcome any challenge. I no longer saw uncertainty in their expressions. From that day forward, the company began to change. Slowly but surely, we started gaining new business partners. One evening, Emily approached me. "Grandpa, do you have a moment?" "What is it, Emily?" "I've come up with an idea for a new project." "That's fantastic. Tell me about it." Emily eagerly explained the details of her proposal, her eyes shining with a brilliance I hadn't seen before. "That's an excellent idea, Emily. Let's get started on it right away." "Really?" "Thank you, Grandpa." Watching her leave with excitement, my heart swelled with pride. Emily was growing stronger. However, late that night, something unexpected happened. My phone rang, displaying an unfamiliar number. "This is Benjamin." The voice on the other end belonged to Ryan, an employee of Mr. Smith's company. "Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry to bother you at this late hour, but I have critical information." "What is it?" "Actually, Mr. Smith is planning to destroy your company." "What did you just say?" "Mr. Smith is pressuring your business partners not to work with your company." I was stunned. I couldn't believe he would go that far. "Thank you for the information. Please take care." After hanging up, I sat deep in thought. Although I was furious at Mr. Smith's underhanded tactics, I knew I had to remain calm and devise a solid plan. The next morning, I arrived at the office early. I gathered the employees and explained the situation. "Listen, everyone. Mr. Smith is trying to destroy our company. He's pressuring our business partners against working with us." Shocked murmurs rippled through the group. "But we won't let him win. On the contrary, we'll use this as an opportunity to transform ourselves. We'll deliver even higher quality work and establish new partnerships. His pressure is nothing compared to the strength of our bonds." A look of determination began to replace the unease in their eyes. "Let's go. Let's show them what we're made of." From that day, we worked harder than ever. Late nights became routine as we brainstormed new ideas, drafted proposals, and reached out to potential clients. Emily threw herself into her project, pushing it forward with unwavering dedication. A few days later, I received a call from one of my old high school baseball teammates. "Hey, Benjamin. I've heard about your situation. Sounds tough." "Yeah, it's been challenging, but we're managing. Actually, my company is planning a new project. We'd like to hire your company for it. How about it?" I was speechless with surprise and joy. "Really? Thank you. That's a huge help." "Of course. We're teammates, right? We help each other out when it counts." After the call, I shared the news with my employees. Their faces relaxed, and a sense of hope filled the room. That evening, Emily came to see me. "Grandpa, my project, it's going well." "Really? That's wonderful news." "Yeah." At Mr. Smith's company, no one ever listened to my ideas. But here, everyone takes me seriously. Tears shimmered in Emily's eyes. But this time they were tears of happiness. "Emily, you've grown so much. I'm incredibly proud of you." "Thank you, Grandpa. I feel like I can finally believe in myself now." I hugged Emily tightly, feeling her growth and warmth swelling in my chest. The next day, I headed to the office early in the morning. As I sat at my desk reviewing documents for the new project, my phone suddenly rang. It was Mr. Smith. "This is Benjamin." "Mr. Johnson, what do you think you're doing, poaching my employees?" "What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. My top employees are resigning one after another, saying they're joining your company." I was taken aback. I hadn't heard anything about this. "Mr. Smith, I haven't done anything." "Your employees must be making their own decisions." Unbelievable. Is this your way of seeking revenge? No. This is simply the result of people seeking a better working environment. "Mr. Johnson, you're naive about the business world. You'll regret this one day." The call abruptly ended. I let out a deep sigh. That afternoon, employees who had left Mr. Smith's company began arriving for interviews one after another. Listening to their stories, the harsh working conditions at Mr. Smith's company became glaringly evident. "Everyone, here we value people. We believe in supporting and caring for each other. Let's work together to build a company that embodies these values." The new recruits nodded firmly. That evening, I called Emily. "Emily, listen. Many people from Mr. Smith's company are joining us. I'd like you to use your experience to help support them." "Me? Can I really do that?" "You can. I know you can." Emily paused for a moment, then nodded resolutely. "Okay, Grandpa. I'll do my best." I sensed a newfound strength within her. The next day, I headed to the office early in the morning, ready to welcome our new team members. "Everyone, listen up. Starting today, we have new members joining us. They may have endured difficult experiences, but things will be different here. Let's create a workplace where we support and care for one another." A round of applause erupted from the employees. As I glanced out the window, I saw the sunrise casting a warm glow. It's the start of a new day, and the beginning of our new challenge. Let's make history together. The employees responded with a resounding, determined reply. I stood tall, ready to take the first step toward our new challenge. Several days had passed since we terminated the contract with Mr. Smith's company. Our company was thriving with new energy, thanks to the arrival of new members. However, Mr. Smith's interference continued. His pressure on our business partners was intensifying, and our financial situation was gradually becoming strained. One morning, I was in my office working on a new strategy. Then my secretary, James, rushed in hurriedly. "Mr. Johnson, there's a serious issue." "What is it, James?" "Mr. Smith's company has signed a major contract with Anderson Electric, one of our key partners." I frowned deeply. Anderson Electric was a crucial partner for us. This was a significant blow. "I see. Please contact Mr. Anderson immediately." After James left the room, I sighed heavily. Mr. Smith's tactics were more cunning than I had anticipated. But giving up wasn't an option. A few minutes later, I was connected to Mr. Anderson by phone. "Mr. Anderson, I apologize for the sudden call." "Mr. Johnson, I assume this is about the contract with Smith Corporation." "Yes. What does this mean for our partnership?" "I'm sorry to say, but the contract with Smith Corporation includes an exclusivity clause. It makes working with other companies difficult." My mind raced. I couldn't let things end here. "Mr. Anderson, may I request a meeting to discuss this in person?" After a brief hesitation, Mr. Anderson agreed. That afternoon, I visited Anderson Electric. Seated across from Mr. Anderson in the conference room, I could see an apologetic expression on his face. "Mr. Anderson, I deeply appreciate our long-standing relationship. I was surprised by the sudden change in contracts. Mr. Johnson, I truly apologize. But Smith Corporation's proposal was very appealing. I'm well aware of Mr. Smith's methods. However, business isn't just about numbers." "What do you mean by that?" "Our relationship isn't merely transactional. It's built on years of trust and mutual growth, something numbers can't quantify." Mr. Anderson listened silently. I learned something from high school baseball. For a team to win, individual skills are important, but teamwork is essential. Isn't business the same? That's true. We've had a long relationship, after all. We're not just business partners, we're collaborators in growth. While Smith Corporation's proposal may seem attractive in the long term, isn't a relationship based on mutual understanding and support far more valuable? Mr. Anderson seemed deep in thought. Mr. Anderson, please reconsider. I believe our relationship is far too valuable to discard so easily. I see, Mr. Johnson. I'll review the contract with Smith Corporation. Your words have truly resonated with me. I breathed a sigh of relief. There was still hope. Upon returning to the office, I immediately convened a strategy meeting. I gathered all the employees and explained the current situation. Everyone, listen up. Mr. Smith's interference continues, but we still have a chance. Now is the time to come together and fight as one. The employees' expressions grew resolute. What is our greatest strength? It's our ability to care for one another. I'll apply the teamwork spirit I learned in high school baseball to our business. Emily raised her hand. I have a new idea, a proposal for a product that can compete with Smith Corporation. That's fantastic, Emily. Let's all work together to make your idea a success. The room was filled with renewed determination and hope. From the next day, we began implementing our new strategy. Emily's product idea became the focal point, and the entire company rallied around its development. Late nights were spent brainstorming ideas, creating prototypes, and refining our approach. One day, I called Emily over. Emily, your growth has been remarkable. You're like a completely different person compared to when you were at Mr. Smith's company. Grandpa. Here, I can be myself. Honestly, I was worried people might think I got in through connections. But everyone knows I went through the proper exams to join. I see. Your growth inspires everyone here. And even if they didn't know about the exams, no one in this company would ever treat you poorly. You can rest assured about that. Emily nodded, a bright smile on her face. 2 weeks after development began, the prototype for our new product was finally completed. I immediately contacted Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson, I'd like to present our new product to you. A new product? That sounds interesting. Please, I'd love to see it. The next day, we visited Anderson Electric. Together with Emily and the development team, we conducted a presentation for the new product. This is the new product we've developed. It improves efficiency by 30% and reduces costs by 20% compared to existing products. Mr. Anderson's eyes lit up. This is incredible. Mr. Johnson, your company has truly shown its capabilities. Thank you. This is the result of our employees' hard work. I've made my decision. The contract with Smith Corporation will be nullified. We'll continue doing business with your company. We erupted in celebration. This was the first step in our counterattack. Back at the office, I gathered all the employees. Everyone, we did it. Our partnership with Anderson Electric has been restored. This is all thanks to your hard work. Cheers and applause filled the room. But this is just the beginning. Our real battle starts now. That night, I called Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, I hear the contract with Anderson Electric has been nullified. Mr. Johnson, surely not. Business is all about results. Weren't those your words? Ugh. Mr. Smith, a company that succeeds by trampling on people has no future. Sooner or later, your company will meet the same fate. Mr. Johnson, how dare! I hung up the phone. This wasn't the end. If anything, the real battle was just beginning. The next day, I headed to the office early in the morning. I gathered the employees and set a new goal. Everyone, listen up. We've achieved a victory, but we can't stop here. Our next goal is to become the industry leader. The employees' eyes shone with renewed determination. As long as there are people like Mr. Smith in this industry, it cannot be healthy. Let's show what ethical and meaningful business can look like. Emily stood up. I have a new idea, an innovative business model that leverages our strengths. That's excellent, Emily. Let's all work together to bring her plan to life. From that day, we redoubled our efforts. We focused on building the new business model, maintaining strong relationships with existing clients, and securing new ones. Every employee gave their all. That weekend, I reunited with my old high school baseball teammates. Each of them was thriving in their own way. Benjamin, I've heard about your fight with Mr. Smith. Sounds like things are going well. Yeah, it's all thanks to everyone's support. Of course. We're teammates. We've always got each other's backs. My chest swelled with warmth. This bond was our greatest weapon. The following week, our company was featured in an industry magazine. The article highlighted our people-first management and innovative business model, earning us widespread praise. That evening, I received a call from Mr. Smith. Mr. Johnson. Yes, Mr. Smith. What can I do for you? I've lost. I have to acknowledge your company's success. Mr. Smith, this wasn't a competition. What matters is valuing people and growing together. After a moment of silence, he spoke in a low voice. You're right. Perhaps I need to rethink my approach. After the call, I looked out the window. The sunset painted the sky a deep crimson. A breathtaking scene that seemed to herald the dawn of a new era. Since that confrontation with Mr. Smith, our company has continued to grow steadily. The new business model has brought fresh energy to the industry and attracted the attention of many companies. Yet, the shadow of Mr. Smith's actions had not completely disappeared. One day, I attended an industry networking event. There, I unexpectedly ran into an old acquaintance, Daniel. Mr. Johnson, it's been a while. Your company's recent success has been truly impressive. Thank you. It's all thanks to the hard work of my employees. By the way, have you heard anything about Smith Corporation recently? I frowned. No, not particularly. Has something happened? Daniel glanced around cautiously before lowering his voice. Actually, there's a rumor going around that Smith Corporation has been engaging in unethical practices. They're allegedly obtaining competitors' confidential information illegally and using it to their advantage. I couldn't hide my shock. I had suspected issues with Mr. Smith's methods, but this was beyond anything I'd imagined. Is that true? It's still just a rumor, but I've heard it from multiple sources. You should tread carefully. That night, I couldn't sleep. If Mr. Smith's unethical behavior were true, it could have serious repercussions for the entire industry. Should I take action? The next day, I gathered my trusted executives and explained the situation. Everyone, listen. I've come across critical information about Smith Corporation. I shared the rumors I had heard the previous night in detail. Mr. Johnson, this is a serious matter. Shouldn't we take some countermeasures? Yes, but we must proceed cautiously. Spreading unsubstantiated rumors could damage our credibility. Emily raised her hand. Is there anything we can do? After all, standing up and competing fairly is what we stand for, right? We decided to pursue two strategies simultaneously. First, gather evidence of Smith Corporation's misconduct. Second, make our company a model of transparency and ethical management for the industry. Emily and a team of young employees took charge of the transparency project. Grandpa, we've drafted our proposal. We'll make all transactions publicly available online, clarify our salary structure, and introduce regular external audits. That's an excellent idea, Emily. Let's put it into action. Meanwhile, I enlisted the help of my high school baseball teammates to gather information on Smith Corporation's unethical practices. Benjamin, be careful. Mr. Smith is a formidable opponent. Without solid proof, he could retaliate legally. I understand. That's why we'll proceed with caution. Weeks passed, and our transparency project garnered significant attention. Many companies showed interest in our efforts, and inquiries poured in. One day, a journalist from an industry magazine visited for an interview. "Mr. Johnson, your company's initiative has had a huge impact on the industry. What inspired you to start this transparency project?" The turning point was. The journalist's question made me pause. I decided to answer honestly. To be truthful, I heard rumors of unethical practices within the industry. That made me realize the importance of leading by example. Unethical practices. Are you referring to a specific company? As these are just rumors, I won't name any specific companies. What's important is steering the industry in a healthier direction. The journalist took detailed notes. When the article was published, it caused a stir in the industry. Many companies supported our initiative and began implementing similar transparency measures. At the same time, Smith Corporation's behavior became noticeably more cautious. There were even reports of clients deciding not to renew contracts with them. One day, Mr. Smith called me. "Mr. Johnson, that article of yours stirred up unnecessary trouble." "Mr. Smith, I didn't name any specific company." "If you feel it applies to you, perhaps you should reflect on your conscience." Ugh. The call ended abruptly. That night, I called Emily. "Emily, your contributions have been extraordinary. The success of the Transparency Project owes much to you." "Thank you, Grandpa." "But it was a team effort." "I just applied the teamwork principles you taught me." "I see. You've grown so much." Emily smiled proudly. The next day, I arrived at the office early. That afternoon, groundbreaking news arrived. "Mr. Johnson, this is urgent. There's a whistleblower from Smith Corporation." "What did you say?" "Yes. A former employee of Smith Corporation has turned over evidence of their illicit dealings to the police." I couldn't hide my shock. Finally, the wheels of justice were in motion. That evening, the news broadcast showed footage of a police raid on Smith Corporation. It was an event that sent shockwaves through the entire industry. The next day, I held an emergency press conference. First, I want to express my deep regret over this situation. At the same time, I believe this should be seen as an opportunity to cleanse and reform the industry as a whole. Mr. Johnson, did your transparency project anticipate such an event? No, not at all. We simply felt the need to emphasize the importance of ethical and transparent management. As industry leaders, we remain committed to integrity and transparency. The press conference was broadcast nationwide, and our company's stock price soared. That night, I reached out to my high school baseball teammates. "Benjamin, you've done it. Your courageous actions are changing the industry." No, this was a team effort. The spirit of teamwork I learned in high school baseball is what guided us through. That's right. Our bond is as strong as ever. After the call, I gazed out the window. The stars in the night sky seemed to shine with hope for the future. The next day, I gathered all the employees. "Everyone, listen up. Our actions have brought significant change to the industry. But we can't be complacent. The real challenge lies ahead." Determined expressions filled the room. The situation with Smith Corporation is unfortunate, but let's use this moment to guide the industry toward a better future. We will lead by example. Several weeks later, we were honored by the Industry Association. We received the prestigious Transparency in Business Award. During the award ceremony, I addressed the audience. This award belongs not to me but to every employee in our company. And it was the spirit of teamwork I learned in high school baseball that brought us here. The room erupted in applause. That night, Emily and I celebrated together. "Grandpa, congratulations. I'm so proud of you." "Emily, this is also thanks to you. Your growth has fueled the company's growth. Emily smiled shyly. Our journey has only just begun. Let's continue giving it our all. Yes. As we clinked glasses, I reflected on how far we'd come. The spirit I learned in high school baseball, the bonds with my teammates, and the determination to never give up. All of it has paid off at this very moment. Outside the window, the full moon shone brightly, radiating the same brilliant, powerful light as the one I used to gaze at from the field. Its radiant and powerful light mirrored the bright future I envisioned for us. Let's give it our best tomorrow. In the weeks following the award, our company continued to thrive. Since the exposure of Smith Corporation's misconduct, countless companies had taken interest in our business model, and new partnership inquiries were pouring in. One morning, I was heading to the office early. At that moment, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. This is Benjamin. The caller was Alex, a former employee of Smith Corporation. Mr. Johnson, I need to talk to you. I have definitive evidence of Mr. Smith's misconduct. Is that true? Yes. However, if I turn this information over to the police, it might put my safety at risk. I understand. Let's meet in a safe location. I sprang into action immediately. I contacted Tyler, a high school baseball teammate who now worked as a police officer. Tyler, I need a favor. There's someone with critical evidence of Mr. Smith's misconduct. Can you ensure their safety? Got it. Leave it to me. That afternoon, I met secretly with Alex, the whistleblower, alongside Tyler. The evidence Alex provided was more shocking than I had anticipated. Systematic bribery, tax evasion, and sabotage of competitors orchestrated by Mr. Smith. All meticulously documented. This is damning evidence. Tyler, can the police act on this? Absolutely. This is more than enough. I'll report this to my superiors and get things moving right away. After ensuring Alex's safety and submitting the evidence to the police, I returned to the company. I gathered the executives and explained the situation. Everyone, listen. We've obtained conclusive evidence of Mr. Smith's misconduct. The police are expected to take action soon. Mr. Johnson, what should we do in the meantime? We'll continue operating as we always have, with integrity and transparency. However, we need to alert businesses currently working with Smith Corporation. Emily raised her hand. Is there something we can do? I've been brainstorming a new service to support companies affected by Smith Corporation. That's an excellent idea, Emily. Tell us more. Emily explained enthusiastically. Her proposal included emergency financing and operational support for small and medium-sized businesses that might face crises if they abruptly stopped working with Smith Corporation. Brilliant. Let's start preparing immediately. That evening, Tyler contacted me again. Benjamin, the raid on Smith Corporation is scheduled for tomorrow morning. Be prepared for what's coming. I see. Thank you. The next morning, news channels were flooded with footage of the raid on Smith Corporation. The entire industry was shaken, but we remained composed. Everyone, stay focused on your work. We must set an example for the industry during this upheaval. The employees nodded and worked diligently. That afternoon, I held an emergency press conference. First, I'd like to express my deep regret over the current situation. However, I hope this serves as an opportunity for the entire industry to evolve in a healthier direction. Mr. Johnson, did your company anticipate Smith Corporation's misconduct when you launched the Transparency Project? We weren't aware of any specific misconduct. However, we recognized the inherent risks in opaque management practices and felt it was vital to promote transparency. What about companies impacted by their dealings with Smith Corporation? We're launching a new service to support such businesses. Our goal is to help them navigate this crisis and move forward together. The press conference was broadcast nationwide, and our response was widely praised. That night, I called Emily. Emily, your support service idea has received an incredible response. Really? I'm so glad. Yes. Your growth has been extraordinary. You're like a completely different person compared to your time at Smith Corporation. Grandpa. Here, people take my ideas seriously. That gave me the confidence to keep going. I see. Your growth is directly contributing to the company's success. Emily smiled proudly. The next day, news broke of Mr. Smith's arrest. As the industry reeled, our company received an influx of requests for assistance. Everyone, listen. This is our moment to prove our worth. Let's do everything we can to support struggling businesses. The employees tackled their work with renewed vigor. Emily and her support team worked late into the night every day. A few days later, we received a call from the industry association. They wanted us to take the lead in establishing a new company to take over Smith Corporation's clients. Everyone, we've received a major proposal. They want us to establish a new company to take over Smith Corporation's clients. Mr. Johnson, this is a great opportunity. But isn't the risk also significant? That's true. However, we have the strength to overcome it. We can do it. The teamwork spirit can guide us here, too. I nodded deeply at Emily's words. All right, let's take on the challenge. But there's a condition: complete transparency in management and the utmost respect for employee rights. The industry association quickly agreed, and preparations for the new company began. During the preparations, I received a request to meet from Mr. Smith. It was the first contact since his arrest. After some hesitation, I decided to meet him. In the detention center's visitation room, I faced a visibly worn-out Mr. Smith. Mr. Johnson, I didn't think things would go this far. Mr. Smith, this wasn't a contest. What matters is creating a healthy industry. You're right. I was wrong. Even if you succeed by trampling others, in the end, you'll always pay for it. You've realized it too late. Yes. But I believe your company will lead the industry forward. I nodded silently. When I returned to the company, preparations for the new company were in their final stages. Everyone, this is the last push. Don't forget our principles. The employees worked tirelessly. Finally, the new company, Phoenix, was established. At the launch press conference, I said, "The name of this company symbolizes rising from the ashes. Overcoming past mistakes and forging a new future, that is Phoenix's mission." The room erupted in applause. That night, Emily and I celebrated together. Grandpa, this is incredible. To accomplish something this big is amazing. No, this wasn't just me. It's thanks to you and every single employee. I need to work even harder. Yes, but don't overdo it. Our strength lies in the care we show for one another. As we clinked our glasses, I reflected. The spirit I learned in high school baseball, the bonds with my teammates, and the determination to never give up. All of it has come to fruition in this moment. The next morning, I headed to the office early. It was Phoenix's first day. The employees' faces showed a mix of anticipation and nervousness. Everyone, listen up. Today marks the beginning of our new challenge. There's nothing to fear. As long as we have our mutual care and support, we can overcome any obstacle. Determination lit up in their eyes. Let's go. Our story has only just begun. A round of applause erupted from the employees. Standing tall, I took the first step toward our new future. Outside, the sun was beginning to rise. Its glow seemed to illuminate our path ahead. I was reminded of the sunrises I watched from the field before games in high school. the pure determination and the trust in my teammates. Those feelings are what sustain us now. On my desk, there's a photo of my high school baseball team. The smiles of my old teammates still give me courage today. Taking a deep breath, I began my work. The road ahead will surely be anything but smooth. However, with these teammates, I am confident we can overcome anything. With that certainty in my heart, I took another step forward. 1 year had passed since the establishment of Phoenix. Our company had solidified its position as an industry leader, achieving unprecedented success. We not only took over Smith Corporation's clients but also acquired new ones, resulting in a 200% increase in revenue compared to the previous year. One day, I called Emily into my office. "Emily, I'd like to promote you to vice president." "What? Me?" "Yes. Your hard work and growth have greatly contributed to the company's success. You've proven yourself more than capable." With tears in her eyes, Emily nodded. "Thank you, Grandpa. I'll do my best." That evening, I gathered all the employees to announce the decision. "Everyone, I have an announcement. I've decided to promote Emily to vice president. Her effort and growth embody the spirit of our company. Let's aim even higher with her leadership at the center." A loud round of applause filled the room. The following week, the industry association contacted us. They wanted to adopt our management model as the industry standard. "Everyone, our hard work has paid off. We will now be the example for the entire industry." A sense of pride lit up in the employees' eyes. That night, I celebrated with my high school baseball teammates. "Benjamin, you've done it. Your principles have changed the industry." No, this wasn't just me. It was the support of everyone around me. My friends smiled and nodded. The next morning, I sat in the quiet office with a cup of coffee. "From here on, I'll aim for even greater heights with my team." Muttering those words, I got to work on another new day. 6 months had passed since Mr. Smith's arrest. The trial concluded with a 10-year prison sentence, and he was sent to prison. One day, I received a letter from the prison. The sender was none other than Mr. Smith. Opening it, I found words of remorse. "Mr. Johnson, I made a grave mistake. I've learned the hard way that success achieved by trampling on others will always bring retribution in the end." I let out a deep sigh. The downfall of Mr. Smith had become a significant topic within the industry. A few days later, Tyler, my high school baseball teammate and now a police officer, called me. "Benjamin, it's about Mr. Smith. He's causing trouble even in prison. He's had conflicts with other inmates and has been placed in solitary confinement." "I see. That's not all. Former employees of Smith Corporation are coming forward with testimonies, revealing even more misconduct. Additional charges are being considered." I listened silently. Even though he was a former rival, I couldn't help feeling conflicted. That evening, I spoke with Emily. "Grandpa, I heard about Mr. Smith." "Yes. We must never take pleasure in someone else's misfortune, right?" "That's right. While his actions were unforgivable, we must remain humble." Emily nodded quietly. The following week, an industry magazine published an article about Mr. Smith. It revealed that Smith Corporation's bankruptcy proceedings had been completed and that Mr. Smith himself was burdened with massive personal debt. The article also detailed the fallout for his family. His wife had filed for divorce, and his children were struggling with education and career prospects. Reading the article, I recalled lessons from my high school baseball coach. He taught us that how you play the game matters just as much as the outcome. That evening, I gathered the employees. "Everyone, listen. After hearing about Mr. Smith, there's something I want to share. We must never take pleasure in the misfortune of others. It's crucial to remain humble and sincere at all times." The employees nodded with serious expressions. We will continue conducting business with integrity and contributing to the growth of the industry. That is our mission. A quiet sense of resolve filled the meeting room. That night, I received another letter from Mr. Smith. Mr. Johnson, I've finally begun to truly confront my mistakes. The time I've had in prison has given me a chance to reflect deeply on my life. When I'm released, I want to find a way to contribute to society, even in a small way. As I read the letter, I felt a mix of emotions. Can people truly change? Or is this just another calculated move by Mr. Smith? Regardless, all I could do was stay true to my principles and continue managing the company with integrity. The next morning, I arrived at the office early. It was the start of a new day. With Mr. Smith's story in the back of my mind, I resolved to give my all once again. 5 years had passed since Phoenix was established. Our company had become a top leader in the industry, achieving unparalleled success. Revenue had grown fivefold, and the number of employees had tripled. One day, I sat in my office with Emily. "Emily, I have something important to tell you." "What is it, Grandpa?" "I've decided to step away from managing the company. I want you to take over as president." Emily looked surprised but quickly composed herself. "I understand. I'll carry on your vision with all my heart." That afternoon, I gathered all the employees for an announcement. "Everyone, I've decided to step down from management. I'm appointing Emily as the new president." There was a moment of astonished murmurs, followed by resounding applause. The following week, we received a call from the Industry Association. Our management model was to be adopted as a benchmark for small and medium-sized businesses nationwide. "Grandpa, did you hear? Our efforts have been recognized." "Yes, you've done an incredible job." After retiring, I dedicated myself to coaching youth baseball. As a local Little League coach, I taught children the joys of baseball and the importance of teamwork. One day, Emily visited my home. "Grandpa, the company is starting a new project. We're going to teach business fundamentals to children in developing countries." "That's wonderful. If anyone can make it a success, it's you and your team." "Thank you. I want to pass on the lessons you taught me to children around the world." I felt my heart swell with pride. The following weekend, Emily and I went on an overseas trip together. Time away from the company and spent in leisurely relaxation. They too are the result of years of hard work. Relaxing on the beach, I turned to Emily and said, "Emily, you've done an amazing job. I'm so proud of you." "Grandpa, I should be the one thanking you. I wouldn't be who I am today without you." As we watched the sunset together, I reflected. The spirit I learned in high school baseball, the bonds with my teammates, and the determination to never give up. These have now brought me such profound happiness. After the trip, I returned to the baseball field as a coach. Watching the children's lively expressions, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. After practice one day, a young boy approached me. "Coach, do you think I can grow up to be someone like you?" "Of course you can. If you dream big, cherish your teammates, and never give up, you'll definitely achieve it." The boy nodded enthusiastically, his eyes shining. That night, I sat in my living room, gazing at a photo of my high school baseball team. The pure passion we had back then had laid the foundation for my happiness today. "Thank you, everyone," I whispered softly as I began preparing for the next day's coaching. Passing on important values to the next generation. That is my greatest happiness now.